Live.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 13th of April, 2022, and this is Hump Day Hangouts. Better look closer, make sure I get it right. 387. So welcome. We're going to do a little bit of an intro, say hello. We got a couple quick announcements, and then we are going to jump into some questions. Got questions about all sorts of stuff today, about AI generated content, about finding resources, expired domains, and whatever else everyone who's watching live is going to pop onto the page. So with that said, Chris, how you doing today, man?
Super good. It's actually Pump Day here.
There we go. So we're good. Yeah, maybe we could change it. Today's Pump Day, not Hump Day.
Yeah, like working on it after like the break and stuff. So like still, I hope like they open the gym for me next week. We'll see what they do with the restrictions. But other than that, it's pretty good here. Weather is good. Spring is in full force. Cherry blossoms here. So nice. Super happy about that.
Nice. Yeah. And I hate to do it. I was thinking about it. I have my notes on like some stuff to cover for Hump Day Hangouts. And part of it was like, oh man, I hate to do it again, but I'm going to, because I am excited about it. But we just got off a call with something we can't talk about, but we're really excited about. So, we've got a lot of projects going on, and, besides the mastermind and helping people out in there and all the cool stuff going on there. We've got Content Kings, which is expanding. We started taking some more orders for people who are looking for tuned content there for getting better results. We talked about that last week. If you want to, we'll touch on it again this week, but if you want to hear a more in-depth explanation, go back, check out last week's intro. We really talked a lot about that, why you would want it, and answered a lot of questions about not only just the nuts and bolts, but what it's for. Where you might want to use that. Is this for the money side? Is it for tier one? Is it this or that? We covered a lot of that. And now we've got this other project that we're looking at that is really cool, that directly ties into that I don't know. I'll turn it over to Bradley real quick. I don't want to say too much. A complimentary. What's that?
There will always be first dibs in the mastermind.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, mastermind's going to get the first crack at this as well. But it's in a complimentary, it's not content. It's just super exciting. So I'm going to shut up and ask you, Bradley, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. Excited as well. We do have a lot of stuff going on. It's great. We've got, as you mentioned, Content Kings, which we're close to having the back end finally built, which will enable us to, very soon open it up to kind of a more broader audience. But that's still a work in progress. And I've got, the link building stuff that's been going on. And in the mastermind, as you said, we're rocking and rolling in there. We've got the Build with Bradley group, which is the directory site build to start, and then switching over to using that as a prospecting tool. And I had an epiphany of this past weekend on what I was going to, how I was going to kind of manage that project going forward. So I've got a pretty significant update to that the next Build with Bradley group is next Thursday, not tomorrow, but next week. So anyways, that's going good because we're starting to prospect and build like the automations into high level for building the prospecting machine and reaching out through cold email mainly, but there's a couple of other outreach methods as well, but I prefer just cold email to a target prospect. So, I've been talking about that for several months, well over a year now. I've kind of built my own directory agency. Well, it's a directory for tree service contractors, but I've been using that as a foot in the door strategy to start a conversation with my target prospects. And so that's been very, very successful. But anyway, we're getting into the part now where we're starting to build the automation to where we're going to start the actual prospecting, which is going to be, cold email. And it's all automated. It's 100% automated, which is fantastic. And that's the best way to do it, because then you don't have to think about it. It just keeps your pipeline full of potential leads, of prospects. So we're doing that. That's a big update that I've got for everybody next week. And then also, like Adam said, we're in the process of trying to finalize the details of something that's going to be really, really big, that has to do with maps, manipulating maps ranking. It's specifically tailored for that. It's not just traditional CTR. There is, click-through rate manipulation. There's a lot of other kind of stuff going into it, but it's going to be a service that we're going to be launching for kind of manipulated map signals. And that's about as far as I can take it for right now. But yeah, we're gonna be opening it up potentially tomorrow for the mastermind. We're just a very small beta group to come in and kind of beta test something I've been testing for a couple of weeks now, and we're ready to stress test it and bring some new beta testers in at a very, very good price because it's beta pricing. So again, anybody in the mastermind, I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow during the mastermind webinar briefly, and we're going to open that up to some beta testers, and we're going to see how that goes. But it's pretty exciting, pretty exciting stuff. If anybody's taken Brock's Meisner's new course about manipulating data signals for maps ranking, it's a lot of that, but done for you. So very, very cool. And I'm excited to bring that to our audience, and it's more appropriate. I'll be able to share more details. If you're in the mastermind, I'm going to talk a lot about it tomorrow. So if you're not in mastermind, maybe now's a good time to join. So with that, we'll go back to Adam.
Cool. I was just posting some links on the YouTube channel because I know some people get stuck over there. Or they like watching on YouTube, or if it's the first time they watch on YouTube and you've got the chat over there and they think that they're on the watch page. So I always go over there and post, hey, make sure you come to semanticmastery.com/HD questions. But I also wanted to post on there, and then on the Hump Day Hangout page, you might have seen the emails about YouTube Silo Academy. If you have not checked out YouTube Silo Academy, definitely grab that. I put the link on the page, and if you're watching the replay, you can just Google YouTube Silo Academy, go pick that up. It's a really cool course that we put together a while ago, and it remains true to this day. Bradley originally had this for siloing YouTube channels, and then we've got a lot more information on how to do that with the videos, with playlists. And there's even some cool additional stuff. I won't spoil it, but a lot of people have grabbed that this week, and just wanted to point that out, that if you haven't yet and you do anything with YouTube, now's a really good time to grab that. Because it's, for me, I like it. It's one of those ones where you just kind of like, oh, duh, like, why didn't I do this? It's some really actionable stuff you can do to get a lot better results with your YouTube videos.
It's evergreen.
Yeah. What's up, Bradley?
It's evergreen. It's yeah. I developed that course, I think in 2015, maybe even before that, but it's evergreen. It doesn't change. Those are foundational things on how you get better results with YouTube. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And this is cool too, because it works for, literally if you're a YouTuber, I highly doubt we have a bunch of YouTubers watching our videos, but hell, who knows? If you are, that's great. You can use it. If you're helping local clients and they have videos, or you want to help them rank some videos, that can help as well. It's basically across the board, e-com stores, you name it. I mean, anybody can use this stuff to get better results with YouTube videos.
Yeah, even people who run advertisements on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right, guys. Well, with that said, I know we've got a handful of questions on here. We'll probably get some more as we go. Is there anything else that we need to cover?
Maybe in a bit, but for now we're good.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, I'll grab the screen. Okay, we should be good, right?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, I pulled that up because that's the article we're going to discuss, because that's just come up recently, and I know there's been a lot of discussion about it. I'm going to share my thoughts, but first, let's talk. BB's questions is number one. What's up, BB? He says, "Hey guys, how do you find other relevant sources or resources? Info, services, courses, software, etc. How do I find other relevant sources or resources?" Regarding what? I'm not sure. Like Jesper, Viper Tools, etc. Oh, well, just from being in groups and just mainly I hear. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
From us?
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of the times it's somebody, a colleague or somebody in one of our groups mentions it to me and says like, hey, go check this out. Like, and then I go check it out and I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. Cause honestly, I don't participate in a lot of other groups and stuff. So I don't see a lot of this stuff, and I probably should, but I don't, because I'm always focused on like just doing our own thing. Like, running my own business, as well as, teaching what I'm doing in the group and all that. But usually other people will reach out to me and say like, hey, you should check this out. And then I'll go check it out. And I'll, damn, that was good. Thanks. So a lot of times I hear about them from other people in the groups. And then I just go check it out. Sometimes it'll be stuff that, I'll find on my own. But a lot of the times it's a recommendation from a colleague or a member of our groups or something like that. So
I highly recommend you check our Facebook group.
yeah. And also, I mean, it's funny, but one of the old tried and true method of kind of keeping in the know of new stuff is like Google Alerts. Believe it or not, I found a really good use for Google Alerts again, which is like, that's been around for ages. I think it's just google.com/alerts. But for my link building business, we have to find what I call crawl targets all the time, which are websites that are specific in the, that are topically relevant to whatever it is, projects that we need domains for, that we got to find topically relevant domains for. So one of the challenges is always finding new targets to crawl to find expired domains. That's a challenge because it's something that it's never ending. We constantly have to be crawling. And I've got 3 full-time crawling apps running right now, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's a challenge keeping them loaded with projects to crawl all the time. It wasn't initially, but it is now because of the volume of domains that I need. I might even need a fourth crawler here soon. But anyway, what I'm saying is I found a really cool way to use Google Alerts, which is to just plug in my keywords for the topics that I need to find topically relevant domains to crawl. And then once a week we get, it could be once a week, it could be once a day, whatever. It could be as new things are discovered. But Google Alert will send an email to me and to the VA that's mostly managing the crawlers, that has like the top results of anything that was new to be indexed that is, got those keywords in it. So for example, and if you put them in quotes, like phrase match, if you put them in quotes, then it'll only send you an email with the results that had new indexed results that have that keyword in it, right? That specific phrase. And it's a great way to do it because, once a week I'll get an email and I can open up that email and I can click through, and let's just use an example, like say chiropractors, right? We've got one set up for chiropractors. So whenever I get an email once a week and it's got chiropractors, it's newly indexed information. A lot of it's news stories or press releases, but oftentimes you'll find some articles that have been published on, health related blogs and things like that. And then boom, that's a perfect crawl target for me to submit to the crawling app to go try to find expired domains that are likely going to be topically relevant because they were linked to or from that health related blog about chiropractors, if that makes sense. So back to your question, BB, you could set up Google Alerts for stuff like that, like SEO tools or apps, things like that, courses, training, things like that, and just get once a week or even daily, you could get notifications of new stuff that's been indexed. That might be something that you want to try. So anyways, it was pretty interesting, I thought, to start using Google Alerts again after all these years. It's been a long time since I've done anything with that. And then all of a sudden I found a new use for it. I was like, damn, that's a great way to find new crawl targets, is to look for newly published content and with the, around the topics that I need. And then I've actually found some really good sites to crawl that way. So can I make a recourse page? You mean a resource page? We have one. Adam, do you want to post that link? Resource page?
Yep, 1 second, and it'll be on the page.
All right, Chris says, and this is our Chris, he says, what are your thoughts about Google seeing AI generated content as spam? And that's from this search engine, as a journal, Search Engine Land. But this was, John Mueller or whatever, he mentioned that AI generated content is spam and that Google is going to start penalizing people for that. Okay. But they've been saying that about spam, spun content and link building and everything else for years. It's a scare tactic more than anything. Not that it's not, it may very well be against their guidelines, right? The webmaster guidelines, their terms of use, their whatever. It may very well be to just have AI generated content as like, and that's it. But here's the thing, if you're proficient with the tools at all, the AI content generating tools at all, then you're going to be able to produce relevant articles. And I've said this dozens of times, guys. The most important thing about using the AI tools is to have a well-developed outline. If you have a well-developed outline, you can produce phenomenal quality content with AI tools. That's the trick to it, though, is having a well-developed outline, right? That's how you keep the AI within guardrails, right? Like that's how you keep it on track, is by doing shorter, like generated content sections that are guided or directed by the H tag, right? Which generally is going to be an H2 or H3, right? That's how you kind of direct it, and you limit how much content it can see above, and you kind of direct it that way. And it's, it takes some getting used to, but once you learn how to do that, you can produce quality very, very quickly that is done very, very well. And so, I think there's a difference between just pushing a button and having, like, for example, Article Forge. I love Article Forge. I use Article Forge a lot for like link building stuff. The 250 word outputs for Article Forge are great for like Google business posts, things like that. But if you try using Article Forge with 500 or 750 word output, and now I just got the email about this within the last week, they have a 1500 word output. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love Article Forge, but I like it at 250 word intervals. And even then, sometimes it spits out some junk. And out of the 250 words output, you might only get 150 usable words, right? Like, in other words, you have to trim some of it out. And that's just the nature of that type of thing, because that is like 100% automated, right? You just feed in a main keyword and a couple of supporting keywords, 2 or 3 supporting keywords to clarify intent. And then it spits out, an article that using GPT-3, just like all the other tools do. So it's AI generated content, but there's very little direction. And that's why the stuff that it spits out, and anything over 250 words, I found is to be pretty much junk. So you have to do it with 250 word, like stack multiple versions of the 250 word outputs. All of that is to say, if you were to just use Article Forge to generate a 500 word or 750 word or now a 1500 word article, and then publish that direct to a blog, like a lot of people were doing with auto blogs and stuff, that I could understand it getting penalized. That is AI. That's AI generated garbage. It's junk. It's total trash. But when you're using AI writing assisting tools or apps to help you to write relevant content for whatever topic it is you need it for, how is that spam? Right? How is that spam? It's not. It's people have done that manually since the invention of the internet. I mean, think about it. When you buy content from a content farm, do you think you're buying content from subject matter experts? Of course not. You're buying content from somebody that's sitting in their freaking pajamas on a laptop that is going and looking at other content on the web about that particular topic, and they're just rewriting it. A lot of the times they're putting it through spinners, spinning it, and then modifying or editing the output from the spinning app to make it readable. And if you're buying cheap content, they don't even really do a good job of that. So my point is, like, it's all that the AI writing tools are doing is just speeding that process up, which has been done manually for years now, without the need for a spinning app, right? That's my thoughts on it. And as far as using, like, when we develop money site content, which is what we do at Content Kings, we use AI writing assistants, but it's human directed for sure. There's a lot of human involvement. AI writing tools only assist in the writing. We don't develop all the content with fully automated AI content, right? It's very, very, it's managed and directed by humans. So there's a lot of human involvement in the content that we produce for Content Kings, which is our, money site and tier 1 asset content service. But, for, like I said, for like link building stuff at like tier 2 and things like that, I wouldn't even worry about it. This is more of a scare tactic than anything, because they've been telling us it's against Google's guidelines to build links for years. Has that stopped any of you? You know what I mean? They tell us not to use spun content. Has that stopped any of you? I wouldn't use spun content on a money site or on tier 1 content at all. I've been recommending against that for a long time. But there's no reason you can't use these AI writing assistants. Again, guys, if you're going to just push a button and expect it to spit out all the content that you need for a project, then expect it to not perform well. And as they're saying, as Google is trying to say now, it could potentially get you penalized. I don't believe it. Maybe it will. So I recommend not taking your chances. But why you shouldn't be pushing a button to produce all the content for any assets that you want to monetize or that you want for long-term anyways. You can use them to help produce content, but you're going to want to direct them and get involved so that it is relevant and you can produce, content that is well-developed, it's well-tuned, it's on point, it's factually, relevant, it's, contains facts instead of garbage, all of that. And to do that, there has to be a manual component to that. You just can't automate all of it, right? You guys want to comment on this? I know, Adam, you use some of these tools.
Yeah, not a whole lot more to say to that. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, and I think, you've really pretty much covered it. Yeah, I guess that's it without rambling a whole lot.
Okay, so I guess we can move on. If you guys have any follow-up questions about that, let me know. I mean, like I said, we use it. I use a lot of different tools. For my link building business, we're using WriterZen, which, by the way, I think WriterZen's got like the best keyword research of any of the tools. I really do. And I think it's still right now a lifetime deal on AppSumo. So I would encourage you guys to check it out. They've got a phenomenal keyword tool. I like that probably better than any other keyword tool right now is WriterZen. So, but like I said, we still use Jasper. I know there's a ton of those types of tools now, but Jasper just had some sort of offer last week for $50 for the year. Did you see that, Adam?
No.
It's the Jasper playbook, something or another. It's $50 for the year. And it's they're doing every month or maybe it's every couple of weeks, they produce new recipes that you can use in Jasper for creating content. And one of the ones that they're launching either this week or next week is Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer.
Awesome.
Jasper recipe. Yeah, I was like, dude, $50 a year? Are you kidding? Yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll find it and send you.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, it's been fun. I've been, I showed you guys, I play around. So I've got, it used to be beta, but whatever they want to call it. I've got direct access to the GPT-3, to the OpenAI. And so I can do it that way. I also have a monthly Jasper account and access to a bunch of these other tools. And yeah, it's just been incredible. But because you can get direct access, you can do this stuff yourself. But getting some of these tools, they've already done a lot of the legwork for you. And some of these recipes, like Bradley's mentioning, can save you so much time and can help output some really good results. So even for me, it's not like what I do is a lot is email. It's not like I go hey, write me an email about skincare. That's not what I do, but it's so nice now to have these tools that can generate a lot of ideas or maybe write a bunch of different subject lines or give you ideas or write stuff into into different templates like a IDA or a I've never heard it said out loud, PAS, but problem, agitate solution, or one of these many different frameworks. And that gives you the idea, right? And then you can fine tune it. And that's where I'm finding the value. I have no doubt in a few years that it's going to be able to output stuff that you won't need to rewrite. But right now, that's where I find the biggest leverage.
By the way, I see you holding something in your hand there. You want to pitch that real quick?
No, yeah, I actually feel bad. I was literally looking something up, but finally got my book published. So speaking of email marketing, so this is my book. Hold on a minute. I want you to hold it up one more time. Just give me a second. I can.
All right. How about now?
There we go. Go to Amazon, search for e-commerce email marketing. I think that this is probably not for a lot of people who are watching, but if you do email marketing or if you work with e-commerce businesses, this might be something that could either be helpful for your clients or for yourself if you want to have an overview. So this was written with business owners in mind. This is not the click this button, do this type of thing. I wanted to give people an overview because there's a lot of really good books out there about various aspects of copywriting using these tools, but there wasn't one that really tied it together from kind of an e-commerce perspective as far as, hey, you've got your campaigns, you've got your flows or automations, what metrics should you be looking at? How do you segment? What should you be thinking about segmenting with an e-commerce business? What should the design look like? Should you be using text or images? What should your sign-up forms look like? So all that to give people an overview, and not a lot, right? This isn't a huge book. It's under 100 pages and meant to be a pretty simple read to help people get a grasp on it. Usually because either they're starting their own store or they've got a team, but they want to get up to speed and make sure that, maybe the agency that's helping them or their team is kind of doing everything they can. So, yeah.
Very cool. How long did it take you to write it?
Too long. No, yeah, started, I think, in September and finally pulled the trigger last week and published it. So, yeah. And for that, I definitely use some tools for outlining. And then a lot of this, since it does involve numbers, things like that, really specific details. I didn't use Jasper on this because that's definitely one area where these tools don't do so well, is like specific details.
Yeah.
But for rewriting some of my thoughts, like intro and stuff that was more about like, here's why it's important, stuff like that, I totally use some of these tools because I would output it, do a brain dump, and then go back, clean it up and see like, hey, maybe it could come up with a better version of this, and did that for some of the paragraphs in there.
That's great because Adam, last year I joined that 7-day book challenge, which was using Jarvis, and it was with some of the I guess founding members of that or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I joined that, and it was again supposed to be like how to produce a book in 7 days using, at the time it was Jarvis, but now it's Jasper. And it was I decided to write a book on how to generate more leads for tree service contractors and with Google Business essentially. And I found exactly what you're saying. Like I couldn't use Jasper for anything. Like it was like I ended up writing the entire book and I wrote 20,000 words myself. Like I didn't use it for a damn thing. And I never published the book. And it's funny because it was a good experience. And it took me, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks to write 20,000 words. And I never published it. And so, I mean, it's written. Probably you would have to update it slightly if I want to publish it, but I'm going to write another book.
There we go.
Because I want to, and one that I will publish for the link building stuff, because I want to write a book about link building, very specifically the way that I'm doing it now. So I'm definitely going to write another book, and it will probably be within the next 3 or 4 months from now. So, but it was a pretty cool.
Definitely do that. And I would say too, for anyone, I mean, this isn't, it's not new. Everyone knows you can self-publish, you could do this or that. And I told Bradley and Chris this. I was recording a video, and I know Bradley still does a lot of video too. I was recording one for Prospect and was just giving them some general advice on something I had noticed, and I forget, it was something about a campaign email. And then I realized I had my book on the kitchen, it had just come in the mail. So I paused the Loom video, went in the kitchen, grabbed it, came back, and I said, by the way, I had just finished writing it and publishing the book about this. And but let me tell you what this says. I won't bore you by reading it. And I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. I'm going to have to do that more often. I'm like holding up a book and being like, well, I wrote the book about this.
Yeah, I wrote the book about it. Right on. Well, thanks, man.
Yep.
So we're going to write a book with Content Kings as well?
Yeah, we should write a book about writing articles. We could just take our articles that we're publishing over there and have a compendium of have them like the how to write for local business playbook or something.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So Mark 37 says, hey guys, if you rebuild an expired domain into a new one-page site, do you risk the site losing any metrics? If the homepage was getting love from internal pages that now no longer exist, is it safe to just ignore all previous inner pages on the expired domain and not have to rebuild or redirect them? Well, it depends. You have to look at each domain and determine that, right? And so, the only tool that I give a shit about when it comes to backlink analysis is Majestic. I love Majestic. I don't care about Ahrefs or SEMrush or Moz and none of that. I like Majestic, and I think I love it for the fact that it shows topical relevance. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty good indication of topical relevance and of the site itself, but plus the backlink profile. So all of that is like, all I do is and again, I'm happy to share this, but if you look at the root domain level, so there's different ways, different formats that you can analyze in Majestic, right? You have the URL, which is really what you should be looking at most of the time is the metric, the inbound external links, the link profile of specific URLs. That's generally how you should be looking at things. However, it makes sense also, depending on what you're trying to analyze, to sometimes look at the root domain, which is an aggregate of all of the links to all of the pages, posts, and or subdomains, if that makes sense. It's only good for determining kind of like the overall strength of a domain because of its backlink profile. It's not good for determining the strength of a particular page. All of that is to say, though, like with when trying to analyze which pages are valuable and if they were producing, power back to the homepage, the only way that I analyze it is by analyzing the root domain in Majestic and then going to the pages tab. And that'll show, because if you look at the specific URL, like homepage URL, so HTTP with or without the S, those are, by the way, there's 4 different versions of a homepage URL, right? There is http://domain.com. Then there's http://www domain.com. So that's 2 versions. And then it's those same 2 versions with an S, right? So HTTPS. So you end up with 4 versions of the URL. They all resolve to the same, if it's set up properly, right? They're all going to resolve to the same location, but you have 4 separate like sets of metrics based on those 4 versions of the URL. So with the homepage, if you looking at the root domain, you're looking at, again, it's an aggregate of all of the backlinks pointing to every single page or post and or subdomain for that entire root domain. So if you go look at it from that level, like at a root, if you're looking in Majestic at root and then you go to the pages tab, it will show you the pages and it will show you all of the pages. If there has ever been a change in formatting, like for example, if at one time there was a www and then you lose the www because you've changed it over the years, or if it used to be HTTP and now it's HTTPS, like those will all show up if there's any kind of like backlinks pointing to those former versions of the URLs, right? So you'll see all of that stuff if you're looking at the root domain in Majestic and you go to the pages tab. And again, that's only looking at external backlinks, guys. It does not measure internal links. None of the tools do that I know of. You can use certain domain crawlers to look at stuff like that. Like, you could use it like Screaming Frog or Sitebulb and things like that and get an indication of internal linking. But most backlink analysis tools are only going to look at external. At least I don't know of any that look at internal links. So all I do is I go to the root domain in Majestic, then I go to the pages tab and I look any of those pages there. I look at, a lot of times it'll show pages, but it won't show, like it'll show that most of the inner pages had 0 external backlinks. So, and if they have 1 or 2 and things like that, I don't really worry about it. In fact, that's how you determine which version of the URL you should rebuild the site on, right? Is if you take a look at if you go to the pages tab, looking at the root domain, go to the pages tab, it'll show you which version of the homepage has the highest metrics, right? And again, that's going to be either HTTP or HTTPS with or without www, right? So there's 4 different versions and you can identify which version of the URL is the most powerful. Generally, I find 99%, and this is true, 99% of the domains that I research, they've been expired long enough that whatever metrics are showing are metrics based upon like the external backlinks pointing to the root domain, well, to the home page essentially, because most of the time I look at them, they have very few pages that were found and very few, and if there are pages, very few backlinks to them. So I just don't worry about it. Does that make sense? Not only that, but I also build links to my rebuilds. Like I call them rebuilds, semantic links rebuilds. That's what I call them. But we buy the domains, we build new HTML sites, 1-page sites on whatever version of the homepage URL has the highest metrics. Like I just said, there's 4 different versions. We select the one. If it has an S, we have to set up an SSL certificate, right? But we do that and we build a 1-page site with new content that is relevant to its intended target. And then from there, like that, we start building additional rebuilds to point to that rebuild. Does that make sense? So in other words, we are going to push more power and topical relevance into the site that we just rebuilt. It's not We don't just build a bunch of tier 1 rebuilds and then we're done. No, we do all the way out to tier 3. And I have a very specific formula depending on whether it's low to medium competition or high competition and above. I have different formulas for the ratios of how many tier 2 and tier 3 links are built for each tier 1 link, all of that. So pretty powerful stuff. By the way, if you want to know how to do all that, come join the mastermind. I teach exactly what I do for my link building business in the mastermind, which is crazy. And it's funny because most people learn it and they say, that's a lot of work. Can you do it for me? Yes, I can. So you want to learn how to do it, come join. BB says, you said that content is written by some kind of pattern and some kind of generator. If everyone uses the same patterns in a content generator, then what will be the differentiator? I don't know what you're talking about, BB. I'm sorry, I just don't understand the question. I said that content is written by some kind of pattern and some kind of generator. I don't know what you mean.
Probably AI generated content.
Yeah, but I don't know what he means by pattern. I'm not
Well,
sure.
there's like a procedure, they're all using a system, right? So like, for example, GPT-3, and they're using patterns to get to the result, right? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if that's what you mean, BB. I mean, like I said, what we do for our content is it's really important to develop an outline, and that's a process, not a pattern. And I don't know if that's what you mean, but our process is we do topic research first. So that's always first, not even keyword research. Keywords come after we've researched the topic, right? So we identify topic and subtopics, and then we do keyword research based upon those. And then from there, once we have the keywords, we develop the outline so that we can work the appropriate keywords into the outline. So the most valuable keywords into the outline. Once we develop the outline, then we use the AI tools. I mean, all of those other tools are also AI assisted, but then we use the AI writing assistant tools to help flesh out the outline. And again, that's how you get those tools to produce really good content, is if you do your topic research, keyword research, and then you develop a really thorough, well thought out, well planned outline, then you can really get phenomenal results from these tools. And then you can always take the output, the content that it produces, and you fine tune it manually with, again, human intervention. And then you can always run it through SEO scoring tools such as Surfer SEO or Page Optimizer Pro or any one of those types of tools. InLinks, onpage.ai. I just subscribed to that again. That's Eric Lancheras' tool. It's fantastic. It really is good. In case you guys haven't seen this one, it's on-page.ai. This is a great tool, especially for link building, because it does what they call predictive guest posts. And it'll tell you runs Google's NLP algorithm on the content and shows you how Google's classifying the main topic of the page. And so it's interesting because sometimes we'll produce content that is around a particular topic, but we'll run it through a tool like this, and the NLP will come back and show it classified as a different kind of subcategory or something. It's not 100% relevant according to Google's NLP. So it's really interesting because this can help you get better results from backlinks. And it does on-page analysis and stuff too, but this is a great tool too. It's expensive, but it's a really good tool. So
I think what he actually meant, right? So I'm just making assumptions. So if, for example, you're writing a blog post, right? Or like trying to write 10 blog posts, then the dog niche, and like you're doing keyword research. So like, I don't know, like you're having the first 10 keywords for like dog training, etc. And everybody gets the same results, right? Everybody's running the same keywords through that AI tool. And how is there any differentiation between if I do it, if he does it, or somebody else, right? Because like if everybody would do the same thing, everybody would write the exact same content, or like has the same content output. And I think that's the thing that he means with that question.
Yeah, and maybe so, but from what I understand, and maybe Adam has more insight onto this than I do, but from what I understand, it GPT-3 will not output the same content twice. Is that correct?
No, it can. Yeah, it depends on the parameters that you adjust. Like you don't adjust it using third-party tools like Jasper, but yeah, they have it set to something. So they've got it kind of fine-tuned to give good outputs, but you could have it put out the same thing twice.
Okay. Well, that goes back to this. If you were using the tool to just, AI generated content to spit out 100%, like no human intervention, no human edited or directed content, then I guess it could produce similar quality and what would be the
it's
differentiator?
really funny to me. Like I haven't read the article, so I apologize if I'm getting this totally wrong, but there's no way to tell. It's text. Like they can't tell if it's written. There's writing I've seen come out of these tools that's better than things I write.
I agree.
And I consider myself to be a halfway decent writer. So at some point to me, it doesn't make any sense. And it's more about, is it useful or not? And that's the whole point. So they can sit there and write articles about, they don't want your AI content. Yeah, they don't want crappy content. And if you're putting out the same shit everywhere and it's programmatically posting stuff that's duplicates all over the place, then yeah, something bad's probably going to happen down the line. But I was like, that doesn't mean, Google's out to kill the AI tools. Doesn't matter. They couldn't do it if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I said. They've been saying that about backlinks since, for forever. And does that stop anybody from building backlinks? I mean,
yeah. And I mean, even more so on the content case, to me, it's hilarious because it's more about it's about the quality. And it's like, if like the AI stuff can put out really high quality content, and if it is, great. I don't care where it comes from. If I look up stuff and it's helpful, great. If it's totally rewritten garbage, like some of it is, then, that stuff, that to me is going to become their biggest thing, is just how do you quantify quality content? I know they've been working on that for a while, but that becomes even more important now because, and you can usually tell, right, by engagement signals and all that. So without getting into how the Google algorithm actually works, in my mind, it doesn't matter. They can put out articles about, AI is dead or this tool won't work or this method, but it doesn't matter. As long as the quality is good, who cares?
Yeah. And that goes back to, what you were saying about if it's garbage content and sometimes, or these tools oftentimes will produce better content than humans. And that's true. Cause that's what I'm saying. Like buying content from content farms, like, I know these tools can produce better content than that shit, and that's supposedly content developed by humans, but they do a shitty job of it. When you're buying a $4 article is what I'm saying. The quality from these tools is generally magnitudes better than one of those $4 articles you buy from a content farm that's supposed to be done by humans, which probably are all tool generated now anyway. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and just to put it out there, and I think if people aren't already thinking about this, they should be like, what else could be going on here? Like, how about images? If you guys haven't heard of it, whoever's listening, DALL-E, DALL -E, like I guess it's kind of a play on Salvador Dali. But that's the OpenAI tool to create unique images off of words. So you could say something like, draw a avocado looking chair that has 3 red legs, and it'll make it. And it's not taking pieces from other pictures. It's making an image that's completely unique. So that's going to be coming next, which is hilarious. Cause for me, I just want to I hate the, what's the big image farm that sues people, Bradley?
Getty Images.
Yeah. So places like that, it's like the equivalent to me of copyright squatters. So that stuff will go, and then there's going to be audio. That's going to be interesting. And then we put all this together and we get video. And eventually, within not too long of a time frame, I think that, we're going to start to be seeing already some generated video where you put in something like maybe a
You already have that, man.
Well, in the limited
kinetic
context.
typography videos generated with AI, they're already existing.
Yeah, but I mean, generating, maybe you could help direct a TV show. I mean, there's so many weird things how this goes, but you could write out I want to see this and that. And we're not there yet. Plus the processing, the bandwidth, the storage, all that, but it's coming. Oh yeah.
Astronaut riding a horse in a photo.
Isn't that awesome?
It's fucking awesome, man.
And that's it. That's brand new. That's not an image that exists anywhere. And it's not it just took 2 images, right, and glued it on top of each other. It's awesome.
That's awesome. That's incredible, man. We're not going to, I mean, I think most of the news is fake news anyways, but we're not going to be able to tell the difference. That's insane. Very cool. It's kind of exciting times, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's gonna be changing real quick.
All right. I don't think we have any other questions. So I think we can wrap it up. Yep, we're good.
Sounds good.
Looks like it.